Hi, and welcome to Geno's Picks semifinals week. What did I do last week? 3-1, 75% in the postseason, right back where I belong. So you're ready to make some semifinal money, right? But first, you know what really grinds my gears? People who think they get a shot at their own nickname. This past week, Lendale White came out and said him and Chris Johnson are the original Smash and Dash. No, it's D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. You don't get to make your own nickname. And I hate when people say, oh, well, you can't have the same nickname. Yes, you can. Lefty Grove, Lefty Carlton, Doc Gooden, Doc Ellis, and my two favorites, LT and LT. Oh, you can't call him the LT. LT was your... Look. We can call him LT and the LT that liked to fucking have someone else take his urine test so he could play on cocaine, which I'm not saying I'm against at all. Sorry, you don't get to make your own nickname. Smash and Dash are on Carolina. But here are some choices the readers and viewers have come up with for our friends Lendale White and Chris Johnson. Defendant and assailant. No? How about Millie and Vanilli? How about my personal favorite, Curious and George? The picks are there for you to make, kids. Now let's get to mine. My first pick, the Ravens are giving 3 to the Titans in Tennessee. Can you tell me who the #1 ball handler is for the Titans? If you guessed Curious or George, you're wrong. It's Kevin Mawai, the Pro Bowl center, who's out for this game, leaving the whole offense in the hands of backup center Leroy Harris. It's a big deal, people, because a quarterback's relationship with his center is like a man's relationship with his wife. You know they have you by the balls, and you can't do anything unless they hand them over. And I'll tell you something else. If they're hurt or having a bad day, your balls are in for a long afternoon. Couple that with the fact that the Ravens defense has not given up a 100-yard rusher in 35 games. And now this backup center is going to lead the charge? No. A backup center is also like those 4 extra digits in your zip code. You know you have one, but you have no idea what the hell it is. But you do know you're fucked when you finally have to use it. Look, I love Chad Pennington. The guy doesn't turn the ball over. Turned it over 5 times against the Ravens. You think that Kerry Collins is going to do much better? I don't think so. I think this is going to be a close game. It's going to come down to who's got the better defense, and this is definitely the Ravens, and Joe Flacco on O will lead them. Take the Ravens and take the 3. My next pick, the Cardinals are getting 10 from the Panthers in Carolina. 10 points is a lot to give the Cardinals offense. And I know they played the Panthers tight last time, but the Cardinals stink on the East Coast. On top of that, of their 9 regular season wins, 2/3 came against the NFC West, so I'm not impressed. And I know you're saying, yeah, but look at the Cardinals defense last week. Please. Matt Ryan's a stud, but in a recent interview, Bertram Berry said he didn't alter the snap count once. If you listen closely, you can literally hear Antrell Roll yell, "Hike," on the game-turning play. People, I'm sorry. Ask a woman at any shelter. If you know when a guy's going to snap, you deserve to get beaten. That said, I love the running attack of Smash and Dash. And I love Steve Smith's to stretch the field. I said Smith's. Daddy's got a stutter. And you know what else I love? The 10 points the Carolina is giving the Cards. Take the Panthers, lay the 10. My next pick. The G-Men are giving 4 to the Eagles at the Meadowlands. What can you say about these two teams? Defending Super Bowl champs playing incredible. The Eagles coming into the playoffs, the hottest team in the game. So what do I think is the deciding factor? The pressure on the Giants. That's right. They've never had pressure before. They went through the postseason last year expected to lose to Dallas. Not the big story against Brett Favre, and not expected to knock off the undefeated Patriots. This year, not even predicted to win the NFC East. A couple magazines picked the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So now it's harder to play because they're not under the radar. The Giants are feeling pressure. It's like the first time Carmen Electra banged Dennis Rodman. Yeah, you're the same player, but suddenly you feel a lot tighter. Now, speaking of stretching, see what I did there? The Eagles do not have Plaxico Burress on the other side of the ball stretching the field against them. Yes, Hickson and Steve Smith are good players, but they're not playing well being the center of attention, knowing that they're going to get the ball. Look at the drop pass by Hickson in the big game the last time they played. My point is, Eagles defense is playing as well as anyone, and McNabb and Westbrook know how to play this team, and Jimmy Johnson will send all kinds of blitz packages at a bottled-up Giants line. I'm telling you, in a close game and a great game, Take the Eagles and the 4. Which brings me to my lock of the week. The Chargers are getting 6 versus the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Last week I sat here in a Chargers jersey like I always do, but for a change I told you to bet the Chargers, and I'm going to tell you to do it again. Let's start with some numbers. Chargers are 2-13 versus the Steelers in Pittsburgh. 0-13 during the regular season, 2-0 in the postseason. Okay? And here's why I see that trend continuing. Because one, the Chargers are not the team the Steelers beat 11-10 earlier in the season. Because now they run first to set up the pass. If I told you last week that LT would have 5 rushes and Vince Jackson would have 0 catches, would you think the Chargers won? But they did. So here are 3 things to look for. 1, Ben Roethlisberger. He is coming off his 4th concussion in 3 years. That puts him just between Troy Aikman and Tina Turner. Okay? His helmet didn't fit when he went to put it on, and now he's got to face a Chargers pass rush that's a lot more aggressive than when he faced him. Secondly, Willie Parker. Oh, he had a huge game in Week 17 against Cleveland. Yeah, and he averaged 2.3 yards per carry. He got fat on Cleveland. Let me tell you something. If you have a threesome with 2 fat chicks, you don't wake up the next day saying, now I'm ready to fuck Scarlett Johansson. No, you're still the same guy. You just lowered the bar. Now, thirdly, Mitch Berger. Yeah, that's their punter. I don't have to tell you what Mark Siffers did. You know where Mark Siffers ranks in punting in the NFL? 3rd. You know where Mitch Berger does? 32, which is the number of teams in the NFL. Think punting won't be a factor in windy, cold Heinz Field? 6 is a lot to give, especially when the Chargers are going to flat out win this game. Take the Bolts and the 6. Those are Geno's picks.